Imagine having a seven-figure salary, a private jet, a massive mansion, and a shiny red Ferrari just sitting in your driveway. You're literally at the absolute peak of your career, and then you just give it all away, practically overnight. Crazy, right? Well, let's dive straight into this explainer. Most folks think success is just this nonstop hustle until you finally reach the top of the mountain. But today, we're looking at the completely shocking, true-to-life story of Julian Mantle. He was a wildly successful, hyper-competitive trial lawyer who literally traded his designer suits and that iconic red Ferrari for a simple monk's robe. Now, this isn't just a story about quitting your job. It's a profound, step-by-step framework for personal transformation. We are going to unpack the specific ancient strategies he learned that can completely reset the way we approach success, stress, and even our own minds. So, what if your perfect life was actually a death trap? It's a heavy question, isn't it? But Julian found out the hard way that his so-called perfect life was literally destroying him physically. His nonstop hustle, the endless demands, the sheer crushing exhaustion of being a world-class lawyer, it all culminated in a massive heart attack. And get this, it didn't just happen anywhere. It happened right smack in the middle of courtroom number 7 on a Monday morning while he was arguing what everyone called the mother of all murder trials. This wasn't just a medical emergency, guys. This was the ultimate wake-up call, connecting him face-to-face with his own mortality. It was a literal ultimatum: give up the law or give up your life. Now, what's genuinely fascinating here is the sheer 180-degree physical and spiritual transformation he went through. Just think about the old Julian for a second. An anxious, type A senior partner, ghost-like complexion, a sickly cough, totally lifeless eyes. Basically a tired old man who traded his spirit for a fat bank account. But after surviving that heart attack, he just vanished. He disappeared into the mystical Himalayan mountains to learn from a legendary group called the Sages of Savannah. And when he finally came back, he was this radiant, youthful, vibrant yogi. His face was completely unlined, his eyes were bright, and he just exuded this incredible, deep serenity. So, how in the world did he do it? Let's break down the exact upgrades the sages actually taught him. Section 1. Mastering your inner garden. So idea number 1 is that your brain is essentially a high-end garden. Think about it. Most of us treat our minds like a local dump, right? We just throw in the stress of the day, past regrets, toxic news cycles, endless anxieties, the whole shebang. But the sages teach that you absolutely must treat your minds like a VIP garden. To actually build that, they gave Julian a really specific 4,000-year-old practice called the Heart of the Rose. And it's super simple. All it requires is a fresh rose and a quiet place. You literally just start by staring at the center of the rose, its heart. You notice its color, its texture, its design. You savor the fragrance. Now, fair warning, at first, your untrained mind is absolutely going to wander. You're going to think about your grocery list or some random email you forgot to send. But the practice is to gently bring your focus entirely back to that rose. By spending just 20 minutes a day doing this, you're taking back control of your mental fortress. You literally erase the worry habit because you prove to your brain that you are the one deciding what it focuses on. As the sages say, remember, either you control your mind or it controls you. I really want you to connect this directly back to your own life right now. Your outer world is just a mirror of your inner garden. It's really that simple. If you don't take the time to stand guard at the gate and literally pull the weeds of negative thinking, the doubts, the fears, all those toxic inputs, they are eventually going to choke out your potential. But when you command your mind to focus only on what you actually choose, it becomes this incredibly wonderful servant capable of doing extraordinary things. Moving on to Section 2, the glowing lighthouse strategy. So in Sanskrit, the word dharma essentially means your life's purpose. And the monks use this amazing visual of a glowing lighthouse standing super tall in the middle of a dark storm to represent this. The absolute crucial point here is that true happiness is definitely not found in just sleeping all day, relaxing, or endless idleness. That's a myth. Lasting happiness actually comes from the progressive realization of a worthy objective. It's all about discovering your dharma. That means realizing that you actually have a heroic mission here on Earth, identifying your own unique gifts, and advancing confidently towards your goals. When you have a clear lighthouse to aim for, your daily actions suddenly have real meaning, and you finally stop majoring in minor things. Just look at the stark difference here between merely being busy and truly being purposeful. Being busy just means you're reactive, you're a slave to your impulses, constantly sacrificing what is truly important for whatever seems immediately pressing in the moment. You might have the liberty to run around putting out fires all day, but you completely lack true freedom. On the flip side, being purposeful is proactive. It's this peaceful, focused, almost Zen-like productivity. You're acting with constancy of purpose. You are deliberately moving toward your lighthouse, rather than just endlessly drifting wherever the tide takes you. Section 3. The power of Kaizen. Okay, so the sages actually use the metaphor of a massive 900-pound sumo wrestler to symbolize the Japanese philosophy of Kaizen. And Kaizen is all about constant and never-ending improvement. The logic here is just incredibly practical. True change isn't about taking one giant, unrealistic leap that you're going to give up on in a week. To improve your outer world, whether that's your health, your relationships, or your finances, you absolutely must first improve your inner world. You have to master yourself first. Because seriously, ask yourself, how can you possibly lead a corporation or even lead a family if you can't even lead yourself? Self-mastery is literally the DNA of life mastery. So instead of trying to reinvent your entire life on January 1st, just focus on being 1% better today than you are yesterday. Now, if you're wondering how long it actually takes to implement Kaizen and make these changes stick, the magic number is 21. 21 is the exact number of days it takes to create a completely new neural pathway in your brain. If you want to permanently install a powerful new habit, like that Heart of the Rose technique we talked about earlier, you must perform it at the exact same time and in the exact same place every single day for 21 days. What happens is you direct so much focused energy toward the new routine that the old bad habit just naturally slips away like an unwelcome house guest. Section 4. Building your willpower cable. Before we can build that willpower cable, we really have to start with the mind. Consider this 5,000-year-old mantra from the ancient Indian philosopher Patanjali. I am more than I appear to be. All the world's strength and power rests inside me. Words are literally the verbal embodiment of power. The sages instruct that repeating this specific mantra out loud at least 30 times a day completely fills your mind with thoughts of courage and hope. It is the absolute mental foundation required to cultivate the iron resolve of someone like, say, Mahatma Gandhi. It constantly reminds you of those massive sleeping reserves of strength that you already possess inside. So how do we actually forge that will of iron? Think about a wire cable for a second. A single flimsy little wire is incredibly weak on its own, right? It snaps super easily. But when you place thousands of those tiny wires on top of one another, they weave together and their combined sum becomes tougher than solid iron. You build your willpower the exact same way. You start by taking small, tiny acts of personal discipline. Things you maybe don't want to do, like simply choosing to wake up 10 minutes earlier, or taking a cold shower, or just drinking an extra glass of water. Then you routinely perform these little acts, stacking them together day after day. Eventually, that momentum weaves together to produce just an absolute abundance of inner strength. Your self-control literally transforms into an unbreakable superpower. Section 5. The final verdict. So let's get down to it. Who is this billionaire reset actually for? Well, you should absolutely read the source material and lean into this framework if you are a high achiever who is totally crushing it professionally. Maybe you have the money, the status, the whole 9 yards, but your soul just feels entirely empty. If you feel like you're running a race you never even signed up for and you realize you've practically sold your soul for a fat bank account, this is your ultimate survival guide to fundamentally healing your mental health. On the flip side, who should probably skip this? The skeptics. Honestly, if you hate fables, if you despise metaphors about sumo wrestlers and glowing lighthouses, and you just want a dry academic textbook on time management without any of the spiritual vibes, yeah, this might not be your jam. But for those of you willing to open your minds, the payoff here is massive. I want to wrap up this explainer with a really provocative thought. Your Ferrari can wait, but can your soul? Think about that for a second. It is time to stop being a prisoner of gravity. It's time to stop walking the path of least resistance and literally light your spark of life today. Always remember the ultimate lesson Julian Mantle brought back from the sages of Savannah. We are not just human beings having a temporary spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. So go out there and take control of your inner garden today.